If you see a really cool, crazy activation on a big-time live sports broadcast and you wonder, what the heck was that? How did they do that? It's probably the Famous Group.
It could
Jon,
be.
you guys do fantastic stuff. Let's talk about some of the latest big activations that you've done. You guys got done with the World Series, with Fox.
Yep.
If there's a big tentpole event, you guys are involved doing some kind of big activation. Yeah. What's the latest with you guys?
Yeah, well, we just finished the World Series, which was great. We started to really think about how to make this more efficient and effective. When we first started, it was a lift. It was kind of an experiment to see if we could make this work. And the truth is, we did, but just barely. And it was always a heavy lift with a lot of people, a lot of complexity associated with it. But for the last 18 months, we've really worked hard on trying to make this an efficient, replicatable, kind of easy lift, and lower the cost, because that was one of the barriers to entry. I mean, we saw really big activations, like you just mentioned, at the Super Bowl. We did that. A bunch of different cool things, but if we were going to scale and really make this work, it has to be more accessible to people. And so we've got this new software we call it Virtual Camera, which is the ability to take static cameras, smaller, high-resolution cameras, and put them in smaller footprints, so we're not in everybody's way, and eliminate the tracking of the camera tracking. As a result, it becomes way easier. The setup times are fast. So, like for example, you just mentioned the World Series. We just done an activation for the opening of the NBA at Crypto 2 days before. We leave that, immediately go over to the Dodger Stadium, and I think we loaded in again at maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and we were up. Now, normally this would take 5 days. Literally take 5 days, because you have to calibrate all these different cameras and set it up and get it to work. And we were able to set it up, get it working we got there at 8, we were at 2 o'clock, they were ready to go. And we spent the rest of the time just tweaking the creative and the lighting and everything. So it's changed a lot in the last 18 months on our ability to make this simple, easy, replicatable, and but keeping the creative level. I mean, everybody expects more. You can never go backwards on the level of creative.
Right.
Like they're all good with it, but if it's easy, that's better, but it has to be higher quality. We were always pushing the limits of what this hardware and software could do.
Yeah.
And now we have a lot more headroom to be able to do cool stuff.
So I'm curious about the creative challenge. Is it daunting, fun, maybe a little bit of both? Because everybody, one of the common themes when you talk to these kinds of unique activations, especially about mixed reality, it's how do we take it, maybe not necessarily to the next level, but how do we continue to surprise the audience, I guess. The audience, so Dodger Stadium turns into a beach.
Yes.
Fiserv Forum turns into a forest.
Right.
When you guys sit down and you go, all right, what do we do now? Like, is that fun, daunting? What would you say?
Look, the audience is becoming more savvy.
Sure,
When we first started, if you kind of did anything, they were like, oh, that's cool. But now it has become more commonplace, and to kind of get that level of wow factor, you got to come up with really good ideas. And it's not just the tech, it's the storytelling.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's crazy to think about, but especially if these are such small little moments, but setting up the storyline, setting up the story correctly with, for example, it's a magic trick, okay? It's an illusion that you have to get the audience to believe. Now, no one believes that there's a 500-foot raven flying about the stadium. But you need to get them there that, wow, how are they doing that? Well, that's cool. What is that? In order to do that, you have to do things like make sure they understand it's a live game. This isn't, wasn't shot 3 weeks ago and we're just rolling it in, you know? That it's live. So you have to establish that. You have to match the lighting, you have to match the creative, and you have to get people to kind of buy into the trick before you do it. Otherwise, if it's just like any good magician, it's going to fall flat. So we've learned all these little things creatively, and now with this new technology I was mentioning, it's those two things combined are really making it. So we're seeing a lot of new clients. So it's not just big sports moments like the Super Bowl that we did or like last time, but it's also agencies coming at us. It's also corporate clients saying, how can I bring this into my really big important event? And now we're seeing teams as well. So we just did a permanent installation of this new virtual camera software that I talked about at the Ravens and at the Seahawks. They have it in the stadium. They use it every single game now, and they don't need to bring in specialists. They can operate this on their own. So the heavy lift is gone, and some of the risk is gone, and so we're seeing it, really start to expand, which is cool.
Yeah. Oh, before we let you go, I know, like you said, it's not just about the big, massive holy shit, tentpole events anymore. You guys are involved in sports entertainment on a night-to-night basis, so you think about like your Vixi solution,
right.
where you guys are encouraging fan participation in unique ways in the video boards.
Right.
How is that kind of a completely different element of what you guys do?
That's been awesome. Like that is really driving so much of the growth of the business, especially right now. I mean, it's become industry standard to have these experiences that, I mean, if you think back 5 years ago, this didn't even exist.
Sure.
You know, like the idea that, you know, you scan a QR code, get on the video board, all these new things, that is a relatively new thing, and it's become, especially in the United States, it's become absolutely expected that these that A, it's going to happen, and B, that it's sponsored. So we're seeing the teams. I think one of the reasons it's growing so quickly, teams are able to monetize that. So the Vixi suite has all these different things, and they're all, you know, the ability to sponsor all of them is driving revenue. If it was just fun, you know, people would be like, I don't think it would be growing as fast. But if you make money on it, then you see,
now we're talking.
See it coming. So we did almost 600 events in just this month. We'll do 600 events with the Vixi platform all over the world, and so that's, you know, it's growing fast. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're adding new stuff all the time. So that's kind of a success story at the company. We're excited about it.